Hello, all of our lovely friends. It is Friday, July 15th, and this is VFX and Chill with Seth and Hashi.
I'm Seth.
Or Hashi and Seth.
And he's Hashi.
Seth, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Doing very well. It's the end of the week, and that's always kind of nice. It's always good to look forward to getting to hang out with you and one of my other best friends, who's also here on the show, and that would be Michael Zalapsky. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Oh, he's doing muted.
He's muted. So he's doing quietly.
Yes.
I'm having a lovely quiet day.
Welcome to AS Michael week. R time.
Oh.
I don't know what they're
should we do some ASMR?
Yes.
Where we scratch on the microphone and
VFX ASMR. That's hard to say, but pretty awesome.
VFX as SMR. That's what it stands for.
Well,
I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's been a good week. Love this doing this show all the time. I was at the IDEA conference most of this week, which is the sports entertainment folks who do like the in-stadium graphics and all that kind of like broadcasty stuff from like the local stadium. So I got to meet a lot of people who work with the NFL, the MLB, MLS, NHL. All those acronyms that mean
ASMR.
Sports. No ASMR. But I got to tour some of the stadiums and arenas and that kind of stuff, see how the behind-the-scenes stuff goes, and talk with people who are using our tools to make their teams look awesome. So it was fun.
That is incredible. That is one of my favorite uses of Cinema 4D and Red Giant stuff, is just seeing that if you're watching a major sporting event, you're probably seeing stuff in titles and a billion different graphics created for that. And that's a graphically intense enterprise, actually.
Yeah, most people don't know.
So much info.
Most people don't know that there's actually no ball when they're playing. The ball is added completely in post. And also, the team is not wearing uniforms because they have to decide those so late in the game.
So late, and they just put the uniforms on in post. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah, they're actually wearing Rococo suits. Wait, Rococo? Wait. Is that the mocap right? suit?
Probably.
Okay. Probably. I get Rakuten.
That's probably the right motion capture shout out to make. But this is VFX and Chill. What we like to do is make visual effects in a short window of time, but also like to try to show people how to do stuff that is exciting and out there in the world. But this week, we are actually saying a little farewell to Seth for a while. Seth is going to be off for the next little while, and the show is going to be on break for the month of August coming up here. So, Seth, we wanted to send you out in style, and there are some classic movies that the two of us love, and probably you viewers out there love, but they're missing something,
They're all missing something.
Feel like they're always missing something. And I feel that Seth and I have a perfect solution for when we feel that a serious moment or, epic scene from a movie is missing something. And would you like to talk about that at all, Seth?
Well, yes, I do. Hashi, I would like to talk about our Twitter account, but with Raptors. It's also an Instagram account as well. And I just gave away what I'm doing on the show. Forgot that was up in After Effects. So if you'll direct your sites to Hashi's side, you'll see that we have an account called But With Raptors, and that is BUT with Raptors. 1 T. There's 2 T's makes it a very different situation.
But it does resonate with a good chunk of the fan base, as it turns out.
It does, but that's all we'll say. Hashi, hold on, go back.
Elvis one
the Elvis one's great, but you got to go back to that. Scroll back up to the I want to take one more look at you. What is that? The Star is Born.
Oh, A Star is Born.
Absolutely the funniest one, I think, in my opinion, that you've done because of the way you cut the reaction and the roar. I love it so much.
Lots of fun. So one of the things that I like about doing this and why it is a constant thing that Seth and I practice is because it actually teaches us a lot about the tools. This one, for example, I knew I wanted a reaction from Bradley Cooper to this Velociraptor head that was a getting back in the car moment, but it didn't have a facial performance for that. So I figured out a phone-based app to drive the face on that called Avatarify, where I was just able to take a neutral still frame of that and perform, and it put out that performance, which was kind of cool. Also, the whole shot, the whole raptor and body are CG. This is a CG shot, just designed to match the other as well as I could. And also, I learned other new interesting things, like putting Elvis hair on a dinosaur. And most recently,
a beard.
A beard. Let me see if I can find. Here we go. I had to learn some hair dynamics because I really wanted a beard on this raptor that wasn't a solid state beard. And I think the only other time I've used the hair in Cinema 4D was in this show to try to make a Cookie Monster once. I've never actually tried doing it like reasonably to actually add it to something like this.
How easy was it?
And I really like the way that this turned out. So yeah, the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is that the more we do these, the more we get into bizarre scenarios where we need to learn additional tools to be able to pull off this high caliber art to deliver to you. So today, I think that we have chosen some classic movies that we would like to raptorize. And if you are here watching the show on one of our streaming channels today, we would love your suggestions for raptorized movie moments. And if we happen to get to them during the show, we will. And if not, we are always looking to fill the But With Raptors account with lots and lots of Raptors for you.
Absolutely. I forgot to post a social post that we're working today, so I'm gonna real quick do that. But I
do it.
I cannot wait.
I think it's fun that you mentioned like teamwork and stuff, because your recent cheap tricks tutorial that you put out was all about teamwork and finding people who have the answers if you don't necessarily have them yourself.
It is true. After spending, the last 30 odd years pretending I do everything by myself, it turned out it was reasonable to acknowledge that not all of the knowledge that I have came to me divinely. It was inspired by the many, many, many talented people who know this stuff before I do. And that's always someone. There's always someone who knows the stuff before you do. And what's cool about Maxon is that those people are accessible to you. So go check out the latest cheap tricks if you've missed the standalone edited versions of Hashi. And also, get a little introduction to our team if you're unfamiliar with them.
I'm glad Michael found a way to bring up that cheap tricks. It's a really, really great one. Well, I don't know. I've never seen you make a bad one, so there's that.
They're fun. I
can't wait to talk about the thing that I'm going to be stepping away for several weeks to go work on, because it's so hilarious to me how much stuff that I've learned putting raptors into crap is actually benefiting me in this big project I'm going to go do. Stuff that would have been scary to me 2 years ago. I'm like, oh no, actually we can do it this way. And it's directly from what I've learned putting raptors into things. So if this show...
Seth is going to go live at a raptor preserve in Central America.
Well,
they take care of these poor animals, feed them, spend a lot of time with them up close.
Yes. It was started by Tim Cook, and it looks like Apple Park. This is a Jurassic World reunion joke. Dominion. My mom called it Jurassic World Reunion, and I cannot get that out of my head. It is now like what I want to call the movie for the rest of my life.
That is fantastic. That would have been a better title.
But I guess if you learn anything from this show, I don't even want it to be the technical things we're teaching you. If you take one thing from this show, please just take that stupid work is good work. I should have prepped that new idiom I'm creating right in front of you ahead of time. But literally, this is the dumbest work we could have been doing, and I have learned so freaking much doing it. So when you have a weird, stupid idea and you feel like that is really it just makes you laugh, there it is. When you've got an idea for something, or something like some stupid jokey idea pops into your head that would take, and you're like, well, that would take too much time, or that's not going to be worth it. yes, it is going to be worth it. Hashi has made a career out of doing this stuff and posting it online. And the amount that I've learned is putting Raptors into things. I got to finish this social post.
Amazing. Well, I'll talk about what I'm going to start with.
Yeah.
I have always loved this beautiful movie, Singing in the Rain, and I think that not only is it a great movie, this is a very iconic scene, and I think it's ripe for a Raptor head replacement. So, one of the things that I wanted to go over in prepping this was my desire for a new tool that I'm going to try to script, and I'm going to share the basics of it. But I run into a common problem when I'm making videos like this and need to do like character erasing kind of stuff. So I'll talk about that idea in a little while, and I'm hoping to write that into a script that I can share with you all. Seth, what do you think you'll be visiting today?
The mute button?
Oh, Raptor Tui. It's what I've been wanting to do since I was on vacation a few weeks ago. So I started on this, prepping this morning. The Raptor's not touching his hair yet, and the foreground arms are all janky and stuff, but there's a lot of, I have to like expand the shot to fit the Raptor. The Raptor still doesn't look very good yet, but I'm going to walk through just some of the stuff. And really what I would love, I think you brought it up, I would love for everyone to suggest stuff that we should be doing, because I don't want to get stuck. I don't want to get hyper-focused on doing Raptor 2 this entire episode. So if you got ideas, throw them out.
Amazing. Well, I love that. Well, I'll start with a little bit of blabbing about how I would approach a shot like this. The first decision I have to make in a situation like this is, am I replacing just the face, or am I replacing the whole head? And for me, the easy answer is replace the whole head, because if I'm replacing just the face and I have this very recognizable, trackable hat, it means that I have to have really, really faithful object tracking throughout this. And because of the lighting, the camera moves, and everything like that, it's not a very trackable object by any means. It's very small in the frame, not enough pixels, and a lot of changing lighting and rain conditions. So I need to erase the face. And if you watch my cheap tricks, you get to hear directly from content-aware Phil himself on how you should go about trying to erase something from here. Because you might instinctively try to grab the piece of footage and like draw a little mask where the head is and erase that area and run content-aware fill, but you get a really weird result, and it's probably not what you'd want. So in general, the overall message is you actually want to go wider than you think, because the more that content-aware Phil's eyes are on the background or whatever he needs to paint in, the more likely he'll get the motion vectors proper. So I've made this little mask that's around Gene's face here that goes pretty wide, actually.
I'll often just erase the whole person to try to avoid any bit of body like showing up in the...
It's actually a pretty good idea. And I can even show that I've run the tracker here, and you can see that in this top half of content-aware fill, it's pretty married up to the top, but you'll see that also it's really informed by the motion of the pixels just below, because content-aware fill is trying to look at the whole system, and it makes this whole second half of the shot just unusable. And so that got me thinking.
I mean, you say unusable, I say modern art. That
it is pretty wild. I mean, it's almost like this like Predator-ish effect. Like it looks a little bit like if you've seen the deleted scenes from Terminator 2, where the Terminator is glitching out and like melding with the floor and turning into the railing textures and things like that. That's a bit what's going on here. We've got this is Gene Kelly, right? Like I'm not.
Oh crap! I was gonna say it's William Sadler. No, William Sadler, was that T-1000? Yeah, I don't know. No,
but
Robert.
Anyway, the way he's blending into this brick pattern is kind of cool. And you can definitely fool content-aware Phil into creating neat visual effects for you because it's basically a vector, a motion vector tracing tool. So
William Sadler was the bad guy in Die Hard 2. Who was T-1000?
Oh, Robert Patrick.
Robert Patrick. That was my joke. It wasn't even going to be funny. But there you go.
Robert Patrick respectfully passed on being the bad guy in a action movie kid movie. All right. So anyway, I think that since I'm really just replacing the actual face of right here, that basically this is pretty good. And that little area is easily painted out by the content-aware fill bit. However, once I get to this side where there's this brick wall and stuff, that's really, really unusable to me. So I had the thought of something that I did a lot in my Onward Cheap Tricks tutorial, where one of the easiest ways to try to get something solid here would be to grab a piece of this footage and have it somehow move in concert with the footage to replace that wall. And I had a really complicated solution for that in the Cheap Tricks episode. It still holds true reasonably, but I had never thought about how easy it would be to set it up a different way. So Seth, if you're, I don't mean to keep talking, but
I love it when you keep talking, and so do our viewers. If anyone's curious what I'm doing, so that Hashi can kind of take over for here. I am erasing Remy first. And I'm going to also, basically I'm erasing Remy so that I can replace him with the Raptor. I'm also in a second going to have to scale this down, this shot down, and actually use see if I can use content-aware fill to expand the background, the top and side, so that I can make room for the Raptor. I will also, when I do that, there's a moment where the arms pop up, like the foreground arms, you'll see come up. And when I make this smaller and try to expand the background, I'm going to have to create some arms from scratch. And I actually think I can pull them from some other shots. So if you see me working over here, I'm probably doing one of those things. But take it away, Hush.
Absolutely. What you're doing is go for it.
There's a quick question. Why do you need to remove the rat when the Raptor is going to be so much bigger? It's probably going to cover up Remy entirely.
I don't know, because like a Raptor isn't just like a solid bunch of mass at its bottom. It's like these like thin legs and feet, and then its body that'll squish down. I don't know if it's going to fully cover up where Remy is. I feel like we'll still get little bits and pieces of Remy, which is also the name of my new book, Bits and Pieces of Remy, working with Patton Oswalt on Old New. Tune in. Never. This joke is over. Hashi, take it away.
It was a phenomenal joke. I liked it.
Oh.
But what you are doing, Seth, reframing a shot is something that is worth taking note of and is likely something that will come up if you're a visual effect artist. The plates that we get are not always perfect for the motion that's going to be represented once you add in additional elements and things like that. So it's always worth knowing that you don't always get to crop into a shot to make it better. Sometimes you have to reframe the entire shot.
There are better ways to do it than the way I'm going to do it, just so we're all fully clear. I'm going to be doing it a really quick and dirty way. But
It's a great way to start, though.
I'm sure we've done it the right way 1,000 times.
All right. So here's my little trick, and I'm going to call this a 3D stamping kind of technique. So I decided to 3D track the footage, and luckily, even with the rain and everything like that going on, I got a pretty solid 3D track, which makes me happy.
Solid track.
So I did literally create a solid right here on the wall, and that's kind of the section it's married to. And if I'm looking at just the footage, this is sort of the last frame where it's pretty empty and pretty undistorted. And I would love to be able to basically like cut out this texture and like replace it back onto the screen here. And so I go through a long version of that in the Onward tutorial, but I'd never thought of doing this. So I'm going to add a new top adjustment layer. And then over here, first of all, if I look at this solids property, it was one of the ones I created with the create, plane tools when you're 3D
Is this what
tracking.
you were creating the button for this week?
This is what I'm, trying to create a free script for you all that'll just do this.
This is brilliant, dude. I'm excited to see this.
So here's the manual process, is that if you had a square right here and it's 3D tracked nicely, I happen to know that its properties are 1080 by 1080, which is helpful to know. So starting from there, I'm going to, on this top adjustment layer, add an instance of CC Power Pin. And CC Power Pin, I'm actually going to turn off for just a moment. Now, some of you are familiar with the 2comp expression that we all know and love. And I can use the 2comp expression to source parts of this solid on the points of this power pin. So for the top left, I can just do the standard one where I'm saying I'll pick whip the solid itself. Whoops. My autosave got in the way there. So I'll pick whip to the solid itself and then write 2comp, and then in parentheses, a bracketed 0, 0, 0. And basically that says translate all the coordinates of this to an on-screen location. And so once I apply that, you'll see if I highlight my effect again, it's put the top left power pin right there. And now I can do variations of this expression to the top right, bottom, and left, like so. So on the top right, I'll paste, whoops, I got the link for today's show in there. I'm not going to paste that anymore. We'll paste the same expression, but instead of 0, 0, 0, I will do 1080, 0, 0. And you'll see what that does is it puts this power pin 1080 away from the 0 location on that, but in screen space. So it puts it right there. And then basically the exact same thing happens to these other ones, except you just shuffle where the zeros and where the 1080s are. So in this case, this one can be 1080 for the Y location. So basically it'll be 0 over and in that bottom corner. And then this last one will be 1080 by 1080 to be in the bottom corner. And now once you've done that, you could hide this solid here. And this top adjustment layer is right here. And if I turn on power pin, it's going to look weird at first. It just snapped the whole comp into the dimensions of that. But that's not what I wanted to do. I want to do this button called unstretch. And when I check that, it's now taking what is within these boundaries and making them perfectly fit this new comp. And now that I've done that, I can export this single frame. And if I look to my original solid that was here, I'll actually make a copy of it just for fun, like that. I can export that solid and then do an Alt replace click with it, like that. And now it is in screen perfect location of where it came from. And if I play this through, look at that. It's a 3D tracked solid that is in 3D space where the original pixels came from. So it's great.
That is amazing.
I mean, it's basically just projection, but After Effects, like lighting projection tools are very slow and silly to make something as simple as this. And so what I've done so far is I have made it so if I wanted to, if I had a, say, adjustment layer like this, I could add a preset right now. And my preset is called, let me see if it loads. I don't remember.
While Hashi's looking for that, Seth, do you, when you're doing content aware fill in Photoshop, do you frequently paint in and out what parts Photoshop should be looking at to replace with? Or do you usually just do what you're doing now?
I don't know what the other option is.
Move your preview screen away. It's like just to the side somewhere, and right there, that green area is the area it's using to replace with. So you can use your brush to say no, not to this, yes to this. So
it's really
great. Yeah. What?
So like you would say, don't reference Linguini's face. You want just like that wallish kind of area.
Holy crap. I didn't know this at all.
Paint it in and paint it out. So you're saying I don't want to use this section to replace with, and it'll adjust what it uses.
Whoa, that is really cool and awesome.
Yep.
Content refill, getting better every day. So great.
Dang.
So right now I have a preset that is just 2 effects. And basically you select a layer from a pull down. And when you select the layer from the pull down, it applies the coordinates of the corners of whatever that object is to the 4 corners here on stretch. And so if that adjustment layer is on, it will create that little bit of the thing for you. And what's great about using the 3D solid itself as the source for these corners is that obviously when you go replace it just like this, it's seated perfectly in the right place. So, I mean, this happens to be a flat wall, but I think that it would work in a lot of other cases. And the next thing I'm going to do is put the original footage back up top and know that I really just want to basically erase the head by, adding a little subtract mask. And so I'm really just revealing that little bit of the wall right here. And that's my next step. So erasing the head throughout this piece. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of that.
I am, for some reason, struggling with this one. Now you've given me too much power that I'm like...
Well, Seth, you don't need to spend too much time on this because the chat has given us several suggestions of shots they would like you to work on. And to answer Foos in the chat, Hashi is working on putting a raptor into the famous scene Singing in the Rain to replace Gene Kelly's amazing facial performance with that of a velociraptor. And Seth is finally doing Raptor Tui, which everyone in the whole world has been wanting to happen since But With Raptors began. And the reason they're doing this is, number one, it's fun. But number two, learning how to replace, to remove things from shots, how to place things into shots, teaches you all the things you need to know for compositing, light matching, color balancing, all that kind of stuff that you need to know. But it's a fun way, putting raptors into things, so it keeps you motivated. So that's what they're doing, Foos.
I may have mentioned this quote before on the show, but this when we were talking earlier about like doing stupid stuff so you can learn is like a good enough reason to do something stupid. It reminded me of this quote I heard, a conversation I heard happen between Jermaine Clement and Taika Waititi while they were writing What We Do in the Shadows. Apparently Taika Waititi was on this certain day was like, what are we doing? This is so stupid. No one's going to watch this. And Jermaine Clement said, dude, the world needs stupid shit. And I want that. I just want that on my tombstone. Like, I want that etched onto the wall up here and tattooed. I love it so much.
It's perfect. The world does.
It's a lot better than Live, Laugh, Love.
It is.
My daughter one time, God, I can't remember if I've said this on the show. My daughter one time told me she painted something and she said, I wanted to have a sentence on it, like a quote on it, like something that would be hanging in Lala, which is what she calls my mom. It would be hanging in Lala's house. Because my mom has a ton of those, like, eat, love, eat more, whatever, like quotes all over the place. And tasteful, but they're there. And so Ava just made up one. And so show me her painting and it says, just be happy, 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 and nothing else. Which
that is flawless. There's no future lawyer. There's no arguing out of that one.
I love it.
You just be happy and nothing else.
Nothing else.
That's what a lot of people think. Well, let's not get into that. But a lot of people think that's what you're supposed to be in certain religious institutions, and that is not the case.
It is not the case.
As evidenced by the book of John, John of chapter 11, verse 35.
Holy crap.
Jesus
are we
wept.
are we bringing the gospel today to the VFX and chill?
Just in case it helps someone. John 11:35.
Just in case. We
Not
brought the gospel.
all the time.
It's the gospel's here. We're going to set it right here. If just in case anyone needs it, we have the good word of the Lord. All right. I wonder who tuned in just for that moment. What is this Christian VFX channel? I'm excited because I'm also a Christian. Weren't expecting that from this impression Seth just started doing. Actually, it would line up. What if I just like? What if I just imploded? Like I just sat over here and just self-destructed over here doing impressions of various things and making jokes while you guys worked hard. It's kind of what's happening. A good place where can I learn lighting? I don't know.
Where's a good place to learn lighting? For
Valentina teaches a ton of crap like that. That's great.
Do you mean virtual lighting or CG lighting? Because Valentina V, who teaches a bunch of stuff with Aperture and Adobe, and I'm sure on her own channels. And here for 3D stuff, what would we say for lighting? Michael, what show or series and or videos would you suggest for lighting?
I don't know of any specific ones for lighting off the top of my head.
I mean, I'm sure we've got tutorials on it and Cineversity and stuff.
Yeah. Well, especially on the Max on Training Team YouTube channel, I'm sure there's some Redshift ones on getting better lighting, but I just haven't seen them myself.
All right, I'm getting into the weeds on a little bit of roto brushing right here, because I want just the collar of Gene Kelly and not the rest of him.
This is basically going to be the Hanna-Barbera method of animation here.
Precisely.
No, for those who don't get the reference, if you watch any of the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoons, you'll notice that almost every character has something right on their neckline. That meant that they could keep the same body image and just redraw the head for animation techniques. They didn't have to redraw the whole body because he had that nice distinct mark line. So that's why Yogi Bear, for example, it has that collar and tie, even though why would a bear? It just makes it a lot easier to animate.
So if you watch like, a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, is there ever any like gate weave slightly between head? I guess it wouldn't be gate weave. Maybe it would be between
cell misalignment. Like you have a bunch of ways that jitter can happen. So you have the cell misalignment for one, and then you also have the down shooter can get bumped or slightly off. And so you don't have any guarantee. You just got to work carefully. And we don't have all the digital cheats we do in stop motion now to fix stuff. Which I'm calling digital cheats, but they're a continuation and extension of the artistry, by the way.
Extension of the artistry. Now, speaking of extensions, okay.
Speaking of extensions, one of a fun story from my DreamWorks days was that there was a time where one of my friends named Adri had a new intern, and we were doing screenings in our theater, which it was a dark room, and so we bought these lighted pens so you could see what notes you were writing. But they kept on getting stolen after the screenings, and so Adri had to go try to have these labeled so people wouldn't steal them as often. And so he told his intern, please get out the P-Touch label maker and put my extension on all of the light pens. And so the intern went ahead and to all 100 or whatever of the light pens printed out a label that said Adri's extension.
Good Lord.
Extension stories.
Oh, man. Well,
I interrupted you a moment ago, Seth.
Actually, no, you interrupted me for a good reason. I didn't know where that was going, and it was great. Extensions. I got to extend this background here. And it's tricky, right? Because I got this hand. And that's going to mean I got to add this some arms and stuff. So what I might do is make another. It feels like such a waste to have just done all that and then to do this all over again. But I'm kind of thinking I'm going to make a clean plate entirely without Linguini or Remy.
That's impressive.
I don't know about impressive.
That
impressive lack of planning. What were you going to say, Hush? I yelled over you.
No, nothing. I was saying impressive that you knew both character names was my little joke there.
Well, I freaking love Ratatouille. I think it might be Pixar's actual best movie in my opinion, but people can fight me if they want to be wrong about something.
People in the chat, feel free to let Seth know why he's wrong and what your favorite Pixar movies are, or let me rephrase, what you think the best Pixar movies are, because they're not necessarily the same thing.
Correct.
Because my favorite movie of all time is not what I think the greatest movie of all time is.
Correct. Same. What is your favorite movie of all time, Mike?
Oh, my favorite movie of all time is called The Thin Man. It was released in 1936. It's a black and white whodunit murder mystery, but it's very modern in some of its pacing. Once you get through after the slow opening happens, once the detective and his wife show up on the scene, it gets like very modern. Like they have overlapping dialogue, which like wasn't really a thing until at all in movies until after the MASH movie came out. It's got overlapping dialogue. It's got just funny little side jokes that you don't necessarily even notice on your first or second time watching through it. It's just the cast is fun. Like the whole thing is just great. And it keeps you guessing to the end on who it was that actually did the murder. So it's pretty good.
I would have never guessed The Thin Man for your favorite movie, but I love that it's your favorite movie. That's one of the best, most Michael answers I could have gotten.
Because it's obviously not the greatest movie or the best movie of all time. That's clearly The Lord of the Rings, but.
Okay, so that's what my next question was. What the best movie of all time?
Yeah, I think for a single movie, and I count the trilogy as a single movie because it's one story, like fairly concrete one story, as opposed to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I think is Avengers Endgame was the culmination of the greatest cinematic achievement in Hollywood history, like Western cinema history. But I think the greatest like single-ish movie story would be Lord of the Rings, because just the depth of detail that every single department went into. Like you got wardrobe, set design, costumes, casting. Like everybody did such an amazing job on those three films that I think that is the greatest, in my opinion, currently greatest. Although Everything Everywhere All at Once is pretty impressive.
It is very impressive. I was just going to say that speaking of wardrobe, I am using the Sketchfab Importer extension in Cinema 4D to find myself a suitable fedora for this moment. There are a variety of hats in here, and I'm just trying to look for the one that I think is the closest in shape and feel. And that might have actually been on the very first page. There was one called Gangster Hats that it felt like it just kind of nailed the vibe. Or maybe, that's
of the hats that everybody back then, every male back then wore.
Yeah, you just had that what was it, of New York, Gangs of New York hat, the Bill the Butcher, is that what it was?
All right, this one is made by Michael Kavanagh. Thank you very much for your gangster hats.
The chat has come somewhat more to life as people are suggesting their favorite Pixar movies. Some of them are, Finding Nemo. Someone says favorite. Amazing use of color in that film to show the different types of ocean. Like I'm very impressed with the work they did on that film.
You know what?
So I can understand that being a favorite.
Finding Nemo. Well, here's the thing about Finding Nemo. If you don't cry watching literally just 5 seconds of Finding Nemo, if you don't go to tears immediately hearing just 5 seconds of Thomas Newman's score, you're a robot. You have no emotion, and something is wrong with you, and you should see a doctor immediately.
That was from Vlad. Vlad picks Finding Nemo as their favorite. And Omar says, from the Dominican Republic, says their favorite Pixar movie is Toy Story because it changed everything for them back in the 90s. It changed everything for a lot of people back in the 90s.
Toy Story is amazing. Just flat out amazing. That movie's perfect.
Cali Project Photography says Monsters University. They had to rotoscope the entrance gate for a graphics class. That's a heck of a thing to have to rotoscope.
Ooh, that's a good way to get to know a piece of footage.
Yeah, you really get to know something in intimate detail if you have to rotoscope it. Same with touching up photos. Like you start feeling like you know that person. Like I always feel it's really interesting. Like the visual effects artists who work on these films and like touch up actors' appearances and stuff, and then like they meet the actors at like the final whatever party, like the premiere party and whatever, and like they have like an intimate knowledge of this actor because they've been staring at their face, rotoscoping them or whatever.
I saw a meme like about that was like
months and months.
I saw a meme like it was like editors meeting actors in real life, and they're like, "What's up, man? How you doing?" And the actor's like, "Who are you? Have we ever met?"
Like they've been staring at them intimately for 11 months working on this piece, and the actor has no idea who they are. It's tough. Matt says currently Moana because of the amazing water physics and textures. And while I agree with you that the water physics and cloth and hair physics in that movie are stunning, that is not a Pixar movie. That is Disney Animation Studios.
Interesting that we're getting that the reasonings are all technical. I guess that would be our audience. That makes sense. But
yep. Frigby Chillweather says Up is the best Pixar movies. So many emotions in that first opening scene. Oh yeah, no dialogue.
Here's the thing,
and you cry.
The first 15 minutes of Up are phenomenal.
What Hashi just said. I think that's what people are talking about when they say Up is the best Pixar movie. They're talking about that opening.
Yes.
Yep. 100%.
And it's nifty that they did the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I believe was...
I can barely remember anything in the rest of the movie except for that opening. I mean, I know there was a dog with a collar that made him talk and a funky bird.
The rest of the movie should have been called Up.
At one point.
Like Up.
I think, isn't there blood in there?
The rest of the movie should have been called Up V29 or V76. Like it basically felt like it was just like the version they landed on when they released it. I feel like there were 20 other movies made before that version of the rest of the movie. I also love it's nifty that they made the rest. I believe was the main feedback that Spielberg got from Scorsese and Lucas and De Palma and all those guys when he showed them Raiders of the Lost Ark, if I remember correctly. It was like, the opening's great. Crickets.
Oh, so fun. So fun. All right, so I've got this gangster hat that I'm going to try to affix to my Velociraptor here. And first of all, it's a little bit wonky in that it doesn't have enough downturn, so I'm going to have to do some warping to this thing. So I may add a bend object in here so I can actually do some, let's see, let's move the bend object up here, and I want to rotate it. See, this is my level of modeling is...
let me tell you, that little arrow that tells you which way the bend deformer is pointing is one of the greatest additions to Cinema 4D.
I do so appreciate it. Go. All right, so I actually want to keep the length, but I want to dial up the... whoops. What have I done here?
Well, I can't see that part of your screen because it's covered up by Seth's half screen.
That's all right. I'm just got to find the right angle here.
Scoot the bend deformer forward just a little bit.
Yes, I do. I want this to encompass all of the hat, and I don't want it stretching out the top so much. I just really want the edges flopping. I guess I could there are a couple different ways I could deform this, but yeah, I'm not liking this method. All right, I'm going to use two separate little bends for the... Oh yeah, there we go. See, I just want the brim bending down.
There you go.
That. Look at that.
Perfect. Nick Smith says the greatest Pixar film of all time is For the Birds. I could agree with that one.
That is very satisfying.
Oh my God, the hat on that raptor is already going to murder me.
All right, so I'm actually using two separate bend deformers so I can get a bit of different control over this. Another great, not Pixar, but Disney short is the Andrew sisters voiced Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet, which is another one that I cannot hear in the wild without falling into a mushy pile of tears. It is fantastic.
I don't actually think I've seen it.
I argue that it was remade. What was that? Umbrellas that love each other with the new like render engine at. I don't remember. It's the same plot as that. Yeah, Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet. There are not many great ways to watch it, and I'm disappointed it has not been released on Disney Plus. So get on that, archivists.
So
I keep on finding the same dailymotion.com link.
So I need to add. See how this arm gets clipped here now that I've expanded the background. So I need to add a new arm and hand too. I know that the shot at the top of this scene, I've got some arms here. I might be able to get away just with this arm. So what I'll do is, this is my little, last week we talked about you rotoing still images, which I can't bring myself to do. What I like to do is if I just want to grab like a still frame of this arm, I found the quickest way lately has been to click create reference frame in Content or Fill. And then,
great little trick.
And then just cut out the arm here. In fact, I don't want any of the actual hand, I don't think. So I'll do a little bit of Hanna-Barbera number with the sleeve.
Boom.
And select and mask. Radius. Maybe to decontaminate the edge colors. Bada bing, bada boom. I have a sleeve. And now I'll just click save and I'll go back into After Effects, and that reference frame is right there with an alpha channel as well. So what I'm going to do
Genius.
is just to stretch it out, click time, freeze frame, because reference frames only last for one frame, which is very helpful in Content Aware Fill, but I want it to be a big old long still. So I'll copy it out of there. I'll paste it into here. And now I've got an arm that I can animate in this shot. I just need the rest of the hand. And I can probably pull that from another shot. I think I found this frame is a little bit of motion blur on this, but I think I can use this hand here to get the job done. So I'm going to. Same way I did the last thing. Oh my
Hashi,
God, that hat.
The keyboard shortcuts ERT help you switch between transform, rotation, and scale, by the way.
Oh, that's helpful.
I get so mad when I click the wrong one that I haven't been able to commit them to memory. All right, I'm trying to figure out the
R is rotation.
The nice Dutch angle on this hat. Is it called a Dutch angle on a hat? I don't know.
I think it only applies if it's perspective. Right? You're not like, hey, let's go Dutch today, boys. Angle. And they all tilt their hats.
There we go. So I really like this position of it, but it doesn't physically work with the Raptor head, which is something that we've had to learn a lot about during this process. So what I'm actually going to do is I am going to modify the Raptor to fit the hat, because I like where the hat is right now. And so this would fall to the Department of Character Effects usually. So see that brow, it can't really do that, but I could probably make it invisible right there, or push the mesh in a little bit. So let's try that. Let's save some iterations of this before I mess up this mesh too much.
Mesh up this mesh.
Yeah, because you're at a good start. Yeah, you don't want to mesh it up. That's very good, Seth. While Hashi's doing that real quick, Vishnu is asking, how was your work pressure at the beginning of your VFX career? Because in the news lately, we've been hearing a lot about how awful some of the conditions are in some of the VFX houses. So what for you too? What was your work pressure in the beginning of your VFX career?
When I was freelancing, you had absolutely no control over how, what the working conditions were per se. It was basically you might be brought onto a project where it's a bunch of dudes in rooms with a laptop, or you might be working with a bunch of folks who are working remotely to some degree, but are all trying to report to someone, and I tried to avoid as many of the really high pressure, like bad scheduled projects as I could. But of course, you can't really be picky when you need that. But then a lot of the rest of my career, I was working in animation, and animation artists do have a guild if you are an animator or one of the creative things there. And so I got to benefit from the amazingness of having a guild protect your kind of work.
When I was starting out, I thought it was cool to work all-nighters. I was freelance. I've always mostly been either freelance or I worked here. And life is a lot better when you set boundaries for yourself and limits and make stricter lines between work and home. So, yeah, I don't have the experience of working in VFX house, in a VFX house or anything. Fortunate thing for me, or not fortunate, but yeah, fortunate. More often these days, I'm directing on a project, and very rarely am I actually just, doing freelance. I don't do a lot of freelance visual effects anymore. And as a director, you have a lot of power over how much work you're asking people to do and when you're asking them to have it by. And so you have the ability to kind of enforce, not completely, but you have power to be able to enforce the kind of you can't force people to put boundaries in their lives and tell them how, their lifestyle, but you can create the environment for a healthy work life, to a certain degree, which is a very big responsibility, I think, that falls upon anybody who's in charge of people who care about their work and want to do great work, which is every VFX artist I've ever met.
Well, that is awesome, and I appreciate that you are fun to work with.
I'm great. I'm so great, guys. I'm just trying.
Oh, great. Yeah. You will never feel better about yourself than when Seth needs something from you. And
I don't know how to unpack that, but I'll take it. Oh my God, Hashi! So all I need from you right now is that raptor wearing that fedora.
Yeah, the hardest part is that
I know that
his rig is over here.
I hit this problem all the time.
So
and it drives me nuts.
I'm trying to modify the mesh, but the mesh is over here in this other land where it
I feel like
is unposed, and I want to be able to character deform him in situ.
I
but
feel like
not
Michael helped us fix this once. Did Michael not help us fix this once?
I'm pretty sure that
we're screwed for life.
He very well may have. And what have I done? I've messed up his eye socket. Was that just now?
Might be.
Just now, or did I do it a while ago? No, did I do it a while ago?
Oh, no.
I did. Nuts. I'm sorry and sad that I need to go back and find where I messed up his eye. It was before here? Jeez Louise. Does anyone know how to select a mesh while it's points on a mesh while it's been posed?
Nope.
I am very sure Darren Frankovitz has mentioned something about this in the past. I mean, because the problem is it's posed, so it is a deformer essentially making it go over there, and trying to edit a mesh after it's been deformed is tricky because the deformer is just there's some feature called deformed editing, and I'm sure Darren Frankovitz is about to tell us where that
deformed editing. See, it's good to have people who know more than you, especially in the comments.
Oh, Electric Wasp is back.
Hashi, it's under your view configuration.
Okay, in the
Good. Yep.
All right, so my view configuration, deformed editing. There's a checkbox there. Darren, you sly devil. You slick raptor in a fedora.
And this is going to save Hashi a lot of time as he tries to go back and undo his whoopsie.
Here we go.
Undo his whoopsie.
Yeah.
I love
Hashi,
my biography.
You do have
Undoing my
your thing
whoopsies
on to only select visible, right? So you're not selecting through the other side of the head.
That's a good question.
I can't see that part.
Yeah,
of your
visible
interface
only.
Behind. Okay, good.
All right, so we're just squishing down some raptor points here. What do we want? I want all of these points here. And I want you all to move down. Whoops. Oh, but it's backwards, so I've got to move it in the inverse. That's weird. So I get to see where it is, but my mouse direction that I'm moving the points is still correct. So like I'm moving my mouse away to move his points back. And I know that Blue is a female, but Gene Kelly is a dude.
That is the difficulty when you're putting a raptor in place of, making sure you get that correct. Seth, what are you up to over there? I see you've got set extensions. You got puppety little arms going on.
Yeah, I'm just, I got these fake arms that I made that I am seeing if I can drop in without doing a whole lot of, seeing if I can get away with just hand keyframing them. And there is a little bit of arm that comes up right here, and I don't know if I feel like fixing it. I might just paint out that little patch of arm right there. And
well, I have spent a stupid amount of time getting this hat right, but I like it, so I'm going to stick with it. So let's make the just so it's happy a little bit later. I'm going to create a couple of new materials on this head and put that for the strap and that for the hat here. And now I've got to figure out if I can nestle this hat in the armature here. Probably on the head joint, but we'll see if there are multiple head joints with this raptor. I don't quite remember how it moves once I'm actually grabbing the pieces. Okay, so if that's the head, that's pretty good. That moves around pretty faithfully with it. Okay, I'm going to stick with that. All right, so now that we're singing in the rain, let's go back to my After Effects project really quickly here. We were able to rotobrush and freeze the foreground body here. So we got our foreground body. And I'm just adding a copy of all the footage back for just a quick second. And from this footage, I'm going to actually add some subtract masks. So I can basically just be cutting out the head here. So something like this, and I'll feather that out a little bit. And that way, the only part of the screen that is showing any of my content-aware filled area is within this circle, but also behind the body there. So just a simple little trick. And now I'll just glide through, broadly moving the thing around. And I think it'll be okay. I'm just trying to do the loosest track here. Why is that showing up? Oh, I know why, because I started to put a mask down here. I didn't mean to do that.
Demasked.
There we go. All right. This is where I started to make a mask, I guess, on the rotobrush layer. That was clever too. Let's see how few keys we can do. Let's just skip a full second. Let's skip another full second. Oops. Let's. Make sure everything is lining up right.
And reminder, folks, to quickly move through frames in your timeline, you've got the page down key to go 1 frame forward and the shift page down key to go 10 frames forward. So if you want to just quickly jump through, but you don't want to have to go move your hand off the keyboard to the mouse, that's one way to do it.
Oh, that did seem off. There we go. All right, so relatively erased head throughout most of this. So let's go ahead into Cinema 4D. And I'm going to create a background object here. And on my background object, I'm also going to create a new material. And I wouldn't recommend this as a great way to work, but if I turn on the luminance channel here.
Hashi, we can't see that part of your screen, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Darn it. All right. Are we in?
Yep.
All right, so I've created a new material, and in the luminance channel, for the texture, I'm going to load a new image, but instead of an actual image, I am going to go to, let's see, where are our Velociraptor assets? Clips, and I think I rendered this out separately. There's Singing in the Rain. Let me see if I have that clip pulled out. Scream, scream, scream. Oh, did I do it in today's show, maybe? I did. All right. So I'm going to bring that in. I'm not going to copy it over, but I'm also going to apply it to my background. And then in the material properties, I'm also going to go to the viewport and check Animate Preview. And on the luminance channel in here, I'm going to click on the image there and switch over to this thing that says animation and switch the mode to exact frame. And so what that should do is now my background object, as I scrub through, is going to try to update with frames from my QuickTime. And it looks like it knows that there were 359 frames in here. And so I'll go ahead and modify my thing. I'll just say 360. That's a nice clean number there. And now as I scrub through, you'll see that the background QuickTime is updating, which is nice. And I'm going to refer to that as I complete some keyframing on my Raptor. Now, the background object is the wrong scale here, so I might go adjust the actual ratio of what the background thinks it is.
Yeah, Gene Kelly is a little chunkier than.
See, I guess I would adjust the composition properties, right? Not the backgrounds properties. All right, so wait, where am I going for that? Where do I change my viewport?
In your render settings.
Render settings. You see, I never even get to this stage, and yet here we are. Okay, so what is that? It's 1440. Yeah. There we go. And also, one more thing I forgot. On the texture under viewport, you can switch the texture preview size to no scaling if you want it to just be nice and clean like that. So now I have a great reference of the general motion going on in the background. I'm going to do my Raptors like bespoke animation just way like this, like way up top, looking at the QuickTime in the background, so I sort of know what the head's supposed to be doing, but instead of finishing the shot here in Cinema, I'm going to export it and comp it in After Effects for my sake, for speed.
Speaking of speed, we already an hour and 7 minutes into the show. Seth, wow. How close are you to done? Because I've got a whole list of things the chat has suggested for other shots to do if you end up having the time.
Well,
let me know some of them too, because I know that I'm about to fall into weird animation land, which is less exciting to watch in real time.
Someone got excited by the Citizen Kane post we did before and wanted the Rosebud moment from Citizen Kane. Alejandro wanted the Raptor to be training Luke on Dagobah, and then very helpfully added in Star Wars, as if we wouldn't know. Frigby Chillweather would like the attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion from Blade Runner, or perhaps the time to die bit with Harrison Ford's lovely reaction shot.
Ooh,
which would be excellent. Vlad suggests Neo at the end of the Matrix versus Smith. I'm not sure if they mean which of the matrices to which they refer, because he's versus Smith in a lot of them. Vlad also wants Monty Python: The Life of Brian, but with Raptors, which there are many potential options in the entire Monty Python pantheon. And Frigby Chillweather also suggests Putting on the Ritz from Young Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm always curious, like putting a raptor into a comedy for whatever reason. I mean, I know Singing in the Rain is there's plenty of comedy going on in there. But I don't want to put a hat on a hat. I just want to put hats on raptors. So, but yeah, we did have some good suggestions in there. I don't feel like the Rosebud scene is that iconic for the character shots of Orson. I feel like they're very like bloated, black and white, and not recognizable just by themselves. I mean, because it's being deliberately vague at that point, which is why I opted for the wider establishing shot. Let's see, in our Star Wars canon, but with Raptors canon, Anakin is actually a Velociraptor, and no one saw it coming.
Oh yeah,
that he would become Darth Vader.
Consistently, I think we've accidentally done that, haven't we?
So I think that if we're going by, but with Raptors canon, let's see, where do people keep files on things? Hard drive, that's the one. Let me find our render from that. All right, so here it is. But with Raptors canon, Yoda already exists, and couldn't also.
Well, I mean, the difficulty is he is also vaguely Velociraptor in color and non-human. Like his hands are already kind of raptor-y looking anyway.
That's true. I'm curious what painting out Yoda's ears, what kind of compositional issue that would end up creating.
Speaking of the Raptors, Carlu. Okay, I'm sorry about that, Carlu, but I'm not going to hurt myself trying to do that anymore. Carlu. I actually am Carlu Clary.
Real quick, while you figure that out, also not to forget, we actually have done Raptor we have done a Raptor on Dagobah already. So, if you're looking to fill that void in your life, it's there.
All right. So if you would like to work with the same Velociraptor model that we are using, take yourself over to sketchfab.com and search for Blue Raptor. It's a quick way to make it come up. And here, under Blue Mesh, the user has created this amazing Blue from Jurassic World model.
That's the one that's ours.
That's the one.
That's the one.
We messed with the rig a little bit because in this, it's actually more complicated than ours. It has the lips and the tongue and the jaw are separately rigged, and I connected them for ease of use in cinema for us, and also gave our Raptor a... this is our default Raptor pose. I gave it a more humanly, like neck trajectory and human-sized neck base to work in the shots that we were working with. Which I don't remember what the rules on me passing along this one is, if it allowed modifications. But if someone does grab that model and is having issues with the normals and then solves them, let us know.
Yeah, for real.
Because we haven't figured out that. Though I did come up with a solution the other day for a common compositing issue that we have with these velociraptors, which is they have a thin neck coming out of like a human-shaped body, and then they have this long snout, which is often like would be in the foreground, like in front of a body. And so when you have to composite something both behind elements of a character and in front of other elements of a character, it can be very frustrating to not have the right mat for that because it's affected by where the snout is. And so I actually ended up creating a material file for this raptor that has an alpha channel just around the neck that puts the neck and everything at like 99% opaque. And I can force the threshold of the alpha opacity all the way up to cut out the neck entirely. So I can render either the front half or the back half of the raptor easily once I have it in After Effects. All right, let's see how we might animate this velociraptor for these moments. It seems like the most iconic beat that has to be hit is is right there where the head's looking off in that direction and singing. I'm going to keep my velociraptor basically planted right here, so its origin point is kind of right below the neck base here. So you'll see that if I move pieces of it around, I'm trying to still keep the whole thing kind of centered here. So let's start with assuming that this is the forward direction. And if I reveal all of my armature, you can see all of the many pieces that exist here. And I like to go about animating in just a very old school like way that I used to back in my days where I used things like Poser, where basically I would just go to different frames and have auto keyframing enabled and make sure that all of the elements that I was grabbing are animated. One cool tool that I was shown by Athanasios Pozantzis is when you have the rotation tool selected and you have something like this velociraptor with its cool neck and all the pieces like that, you can check this box under the rotation properties called Per Object Transformation. And what that does is, if I take all of these are selected now, the neck base all the way through the head, all the individual bones. So if I grab this and give a little bit of a rotate, what it's going to do is it's going to rotate each piece sequentially. And so the result I'm getting here is that there's a small turn at the neck base, but each piece is transforming in addition, and I get this really nice organic bending of all of the following joints. And I had never realized that this was a great way to get different poses with something like a snake or a tentacle or something where you need it to curl. So if I were with Per Object Transformation on, if I just grab one axis, for example, you can see that as I rotate that, it's basically spinning everything and kind of spiraling it in, which is really nice. And so using the Per Object Transformation, it's quite easy to get these kind of natural looking neck turns, as opposed to grabbing each piece and kind of, making every distinct pose. A lot of work, and I don't like work. Just for example, by comparison, if I grab all of these pieces and I don't have Per Object Transformation checked, this is what it does. Boo.
Nobody wants that.
All right, so let's hit some of these beats here. Okay, so
Hashi, if you fold in your materials palette, you'll have a little bit more room to work with.
That's a good point. Yeah, I forget this.
It's one of my favorite things about the new interface.
Boom. All right, let's see. Where's my preview of how this looks in frame here? All right. One of the things I'm going to be doing frequently, and I'll just leave a teeny bit of it on the screen, is I'm basically just jumping over and highlighting groups of the raptor here to do stuff with. So on this frame, I want it to be that beautiful, like with abandon looking up like this. Oh, I must have clicked control at some point. What have I done?
I agree. You likely
don't know when I did that. Let's see. There.
Did
I get it? Oh, wait. It was
One
back
more.
further.
Keep going.
Huh. Where did that second one get created?
Oh my God, I just looked at your screen.
And that's just undoing a bunch. The good old undo hike down the hill.
I kind of like keeping
What
his
have I
head that
done?
huge.
There are a couple more good suggestions while you're figuring that out, Hashi. Nick Smith says the audition from the beginning of Back to the Future, replacing Huey Lewis with a Raptor would be hilarious. Raptor plus megaphone equals comedy, plus lots of great reaction shots to the Raptor squawks with Marty, Jennifer, etc.
That's an excellent one, and a great movie.
And a good eye from Nick that the reaction shots to the Raptor are always the funny parts.
That is a really good thing to note.
Watching people react as if the Raptor is doing something normal, or having them react how they did, but with a Raptor there, giving that context, giving it a different meaning, is just so funny. And Darren Frankovitz suggests Requiem for a Dream, but with Raptor.
Absolutely, that one is also necessary. I think I loved that score getting repurposed through so many trailers for a while there. For the I think through your favorite Lord of the Rings trailer.
That one?
No, not the Peer Gynt in the Hall of the Mountain King.
Classic Trolls track.
Yes, that's a JT exclusive remix there. All right, let's find this the right Singing in the Rain fedora pose. I think it's around here, and
I cannot wait to see this finished, by the way, Hosh, because I love the scene. I remember someone took a remix of the song and did a lot of VFX work like 20 years ago to make him basically be breakdancing in the scene. It was some advertisement for, I believe, Volkswagen, if anyone in the chat can remember.
I think Volkswagen. It's a phenomenal ad. I think all you have to do is look up Singing in the Rain remix, and it's likely it'll come up as commercial. It is very flawlessly done, and I remember a behind the scenes at the time existing that was really impressive because they were showing the paint out they did to erase Gene Kelly from the original shots, and it may have been the first time that I had heard of being able to do something like that, or thinking that you could actually erase the actor from the entire plate so you had it to replace him with a body double, which they also do flawlessly. I feel like I want to pull it up now, actually, just because you all should see this. This is Seth and Hashi watch YouTube videos.
Do you know how successful that would be? Like, I feel like that would be far more successful than even our
VFX artists
show.
react to random stuff on YouTube. All right, can I put this in a theater-ish mode? All right, not playing the sound. Crappy video quality. This is, that is the quality of it, folks. 240p.
Well, this is back in the day when...
Yeah, I've seen this at higher quality, and it's... Look at that. Suddenly you're like, wait, what is happening?
Oh, yeah.
So, if you can't tell, this is Gene's face the entire time, but a complete replacement on the body with great compositing, amazing... look at that.
Like they got the lamp shaking. They got his footsteps hitting splashes in the water. Like there is a stunning amount of work to make this as flawless as it is.
Fantastic to watch with the music too, because of course the dance is very accentuated by that.
Man, that's great. I'd never seen that.
So well done.
It's so good.
Wait, when was that?
And the thing is, it's not just a really cool look. Like the whole point is that it's the original remixed to be better. Like they're saying that their car is like an updated version of the original. So the original was great, and we know you love the original. Here's an update to it, like it fits, because a lot of commercials today they think they've got a cool effect or something funny, but it doesn't actually tie into the message of the commercial, and I think they did a great job there.
Yeah, like poor Fred Astaire should not be selling Dirt Devils. That's not funny. He never, Oh, have
you gone into Back to the Future?
Yeah, just noticed your screen. That is amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying to find an HD version of it now, which I think I just did. So I'm gonna. Hashi, our favorite YouTube ripping site that we used to love because it was so clean and didn't just assault us with anime cleavage, is no longer devoid of anime cleavage.
It no longer is, and
it became not safe for work, and it makes me feel dirty every time I go to download something for this show.
I mean, I think that's the point, is just to shame you through that process.
It probably is.
Okay. Now I've got to figure out, you know what, I'm actually going to, this is stupid. I'm going to add another plane in here and put the video on it, because I just want to see the video up closer, or like in a little picture-in-picture while I'm doing this. See, this is the professional, correct way to use Cinema 4D, everyone. It's professional. It's awesome. See, I just put a little plane with the footage right there, and now I remember
I don't know there's a better way to do what you're doing, though, because you want to see the footage because you're trying to match the performance. Like, there's not a better way to do it that I'm aware of.
So let's
because you need it to sync up with your C40 timeline. Because you'd say, oh well, you just have the whole video full on one screen and your Cinema 4D on the other. But first of all, it wouldn't work for the stream nicely. But second of all, then it's not in time with your playhead. Like, to have it actually be in time, don't get down on yourself. This is a good way to do it.
It's the fun stuff.
Love yourself.
So I'm not going for an exact performance. I want to have the essence of this Singing in the Rain moment, but with some Raptor-esque characteristics. I want the idea that the Raptor head is imbued with some, you can't just, suppress 60 whatever million years of gut instinct. Whatever that line was, I thought I had.
You almost had it. 65 million years of gut instinct. Trust
I also love how he looks like Kermit the News Frog right now a little bit too.
He does, 100%.
Is it Kermit T. Frog, or is he saying the frog with emphasis?
Kermit the Frog. The Frog.
The, right?
Yeah.
Someone said
Chuck E. Cheese.
It was Kermit T. when he's on the news, and I was like, oh, I just thought it was him saying his name.
I think they were wrong. However, it's unlike Chuck E. Cheese.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know. I recently learned that Chuck E. Cheese, his full name is, the E stands for entertainment, which means his name is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Wait, we talked about this on the show. We had to have, because
phenomenal.
Because you put the emphasis on entertainment, which made it a kind of cheese. Charles Entertainment Cheese.
Entertainment cheese.
Yes.
Well, you can go to the store literally right now and buy entertainment cheeses.
This is your guest cheese. This is your home cheese. Ooh. Michael is now inside of a lava lamp. Real-time particular effects in water.
All right. I'm going to try to find the moment where he lands and give the head just a little downward bob like this.
I beg your pardon?
Ching. And then back up. If you ever get the chance to keyframe animate live in front of an audience,
take it.
J.R. Robeck or Jurbeck or however you want to pronounce that.
It's pronounced Drobuch.
Trying to say your usernames today, folks. It says, could you adjust the opacity of the Raptor to see the footage underneath?
I could.
I mean, yeah, but this is better. This is a cleaner and easier way to do it.
I like seeing all this ridiculousness, okay. But you're absolutely right.
I could. Could you?
Well, I mean, the difficulty is that you then, you can adjust the opacity of the Raptor-ish, but opacity in the Cinema 4D viewport isn't great as far as how it renders for seeing things. And I mean, I guess you could, but then you got the bones as well that you really need to see, and there's a lot of them in the mouth area for that detail on the tongue. So it would still be obscuring it more than this. This is, I think, still the better way to do it. But yes, you could. Especially characters says, "What are you doing?" We are adding Raptors to classic scenes from film. So Seth was working on Ratatouille, making Raptor-Tooie, but in typical fashion has gotten very excited about replacing this character in Back to the Future.
This character. You say his name, Michael.
Rotoscoping the megaphone, which is going to be interesting because the Velociraptor's snout is going to be right where that megaphone is. So I'm very curious how that's going to work out.
No, it's not. It's going to be just
you made a tape recorder work before.
It's going to be full on
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you.
I feel like there had to be some point where Huey Lewis and Robert Zemeckis' looks were identical. If there was
it was right now.
It's right, yeah.
It was right at this exact moment you're looking at this, because he's fully modeled off of Robert Zemeckis, who always eternally looked like he was one of my friend's dads, and I'm not referencing a specific friend's dad. Robert Zemeckis just has that your friend's dad look, and always
your friend's dad.
Yeah.
And and Hashi is working on replacing Gene Kelly in Singing in the Rain. As you could probably already tell. He's currently got the hat on the Raptor and is working on the facial performance, which he will then track and composite inside After Effects, hopefully in the next 31 minutes.
So yeah, basically the idea is I would there's my alarm. Get working in After Effects, everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and export this situation here. Let's save it and let's iterate that save just cause. And then I'm going to grab my Raptor here and I'm going to export the full animation sequence of him. And I'm going to put him right, let's see, just so I don't clutter the Dropbox right now. So I thought I'm going to render him somewhere else for a second.
Okay.
Let's see. What have we got here? Let's say Singin' Raptor, and we'll just call it Sing.
That was very courteous of you, by the way. A courtesy I never show you when I'm rendering out OBJ sequences.
As we are, trying to keep our bandwidths at some kind of optimal level, and this is definitely something we run into. So now I'm back in here. I'm going to, while that is baking out, I'm going to create a new null in here. And this null is not going to be any null. It's going to be a 3D null. And the reason it's going to be a 3D null is because this is a 3D tracked piece of footage. And so if we pan through it or scroll through it, whatever, dolly through it, then this is trying to float somewhere in space out here. So I'm going to try to find roughly the space where that would be next to this lamppost here. Great. And then just add some random keyframes to it.
I was going to say, does the 3D, do you not have a point on that lamp you could just generate a null from to get it closer? But you got it already.
I likely do. Yeah, it's close enough. So what I like to do is I kind of create a random null like this that is roughly following the shoulder line and the center of where the neck might connect. And I just go through and find a few keyframes that sort of define about the right point in 3D space for this. And this is, not a phenomenal way to do this method, but this null will be really helpful, even though it's got very few keyframes on it. Let's see. So now he swoops back here. A real fun way to get an appreciation for how beautiful, smooth, and elegant these movements are too.
Gene Kelly was a master.
Insane. If for any reason you have a family and have not watched Singin' in the Rain, I highly recommend it. It's so good. Phenomenal, just a joy.
It is. It is a phenomenal joy.
I'm looking right now to see where it's streaming because we have not watched it.
Oh my goodness. It's about the era of the talkies, the movies coming into fashion, and a bunch of vaudeville stars having to try to react to the paradigm shift. In case you didn't know, that's what Singin' in the Rain was about. It's not. The majority of it is not about this guy singing in the rain. All right, so now I have this really loose 3D null that just sort of tracks kind of where Gene Kelly is.
Hush.
And now,
really stupid. Yes. This is really stupid, but I just saw this when he goes behind the bar and comes around the other side.
Yes.
There's a world where he starts as Gene Kelly and becomes Raptor on the other side of pole.
Oh, that is true, but then I would miss this moment.
Look at that. Oh, you're right. You missed that moment. But look at the headless version is great. The
headless Kelly.
I love pausing when we're doing these Raptor things and just taking pause to enjoy the Invisible Man version before we put the Raptor in.
See, what I should do is I should make a fake behind the scenes of Singin' in the Rain to show that this wasn't actually Gene Kelly.
And ladies and gentlemen, Hashi's weekend was killed in this moment. Rest in peace, Hashi's
weekend. It existed for 1 minute and then it didn't. Yes. Hidden visual effects in classic movies you didn't know were fake. All I need now is the perfect thumbnail. All right, so let's jump into here and start bringing in some dinosaurs. Seth, how's it going over there?
Good. Just about to do some paint out. I've rotoed I've done the Hanna-Barbera roto and I've done the Megaphone roto. So now I'm about to do the fill on.
And for those who are wondering, it is streaming on HBO Max. You can rent it on all of the platforms, including Apple TV, Google Play, Amazon, etc. And you can buy it on all of those as well.
And this has been the Streaming Corner with Michael, Seth, and Hashi.
VFX and stream. What? Completely fake. Oh, that's right. I should. Whirly, stupid idiot.
Don't put yourself down.
Okay. I'm up.
All right. I've added my Magic Raptor texture, which you can see for Magic Raptor, basically in the advanced properties, I just go down to the alpha threshold, and if I turn it down, then I have his neck, and if I turn it all the way up, neck disappears, which is helpful for later. So I'm just going to put it like that for a moment and then modify it later. I'm going to hope that I have some presets that look a little bit like this gray fabric for his hat, which I'm going to take whatever material I find and then make it a little bit more wet looking. So fabric, we've got some, let's see, leather. This fabric carpet is probably, or fabric fleece. Ooh, that's a horrible projection on that.
Gosh, okay. You know what I just realized that's kind of a bummer is that I didn't get to use RBF on the show this season.
I am sad that you didn't get to use RBF, which is a phenomenal tool that you created that filled a really specific need that we have on this show every now and then.
Well, I thought of it when you were showing your advanced texture you made of the Raptor, which I haven't gotten to use yet. Essentially, Hashi and I on the show several times have done the thing where you do a facial track, you stabilize the face, put something on it, destabilize the thing, and either do face replacement or add. The really great episode we did that had the face-off icon where we did Snapchat filters in After Effects. It was a really fun episode. We did a lot of this kind of stuff. And what Ashley and I really wanted was just a preset. We could drag, like we could do a AE face track, and then drag and drop onto that layer this preset that would automatically allow you to track things to that face, or stabilize it and manipulate it, and then destabilize it. And working together and problem solving, we came up with a really, really cool one that we crudely called RBF, which stands for something scientific, right, Hosh?
Yes, I believe that it was for a
No,
it was wasn't it like a replaced by
face.
By face.
Replaced by face. That's what it was. And then we had one that was called SOB, which was
for I think it was. Let's see. What did that do again?
SOB was the one that
stabilize.
You drop it on any layer, and then you tell it what layer the face track is on, and then that layer, no matter where you move it in the frame, will move with the face.
I feel like you should, if you've got that old project file, you should tease it.
I should just tease it. The thing is, we found a bug in After Effects while we were doing it.
I just brought in Gene, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. My aspect ratio is wrong, but I turned up some glossiness on the face here, so I could have a bit of let's see,
wetness. Yes.
Amazing. Okay, here we go. Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, that's gonna be great. Good Lord.
Okay. So now we're talking. All right, let me delete and create a new null object for that.
All right, I'll do the RBF thing. Let me see. I'm gonna track my face. I need to record my face first. Let me see if QuickTime will let me use.
You don't got a video of your face there somewhere?
I don't want to go find it. I don't like digging through.
Fair enough.
My dirty laundry on the show.
I'm going to do a tip that I learned from this show, which was when you're parenting something, you hold shift to move your object to wherever the parent object is. So in this case, I have a null that controls exactly where the raptor head is going to be, and I want to parent it to this little pretend null that I made earlier. So I hold down shift while I do the pick whipping, and look, boom, it snaps it to there. So now it's nicely in alignment with the original null here.
Just boom.
It also makes me realize that I want to jump in and reset the center of where this imported raptor was. I want to take the alignment from the model. Does that put it? There we go. So now the base is down. I like to be able to rotate it from around here for maximum. Now we're talking. See?
That's going to be so good.
All right.
All right. So real quick, I'm going to do this.
Oh yeah. Let's see it.
So
check out this tool that we will figure out.
Yes, we'll figure out. We found a bug in After Effects, by the way, and we reached out to our friends at After Effects at Adobe, and they actually got it fixed in one of the betas, and I haven't gotten to try it yet. So, but I won't talk about what that bug is on here. I don't know why I brought it up. Why the hell did I bring it up?
Because it's important to note that when you find bugs, you have to report them so that they can be fixed, which applies not just to After Effects, but also to Cinema 4D and all of our Red Giant tools. I've had a lot of conversations with people who've been like, oh, this bug it's bothering me. It hasn't been fixed. And I'm like, have you reported it? They're like, no. And then I go ask some of the developers, like, no one's reported this bug. They didn't even know it existed because no one reported it. You might think that it's bothering everyone, and it's really not. It's only for whatever reason affecting you or a few people, and no one has decided to say something. So please say something.
The bug.
So I drew an elliptical mask, whatever it is, over my face. I go to the tracker with the mask selected, and I'm going to select face. Oh, this is all not visible on the screen. Oh no! Hang on. I don't know what that voice was I just did. That was really weird. Tracker. My computer's dying right now with OBS going. With the mask selected, I go over to the tracker. I go down to face tracking detailed features is what that says. Maybe you can't even see it, and so then I will track, and it should automatically track my face, and it gets all of these fun points, track on my face, and it's going to give me these detailed features over here on the layer. And once this track is done, I need to put something. What should I put on my face?
Just find something you
Tribal
got
tattoo.
with a logo or something.
A logo.
An alpha channel. One of the feather sprite from.
Oh yeah,
from particular. It's probably in our Raptor assets elements folder. There's a single feather that we used when we put Tom Cruise's head on Velociraptors.
That's right. That's when this started, I think, was when we were doing that, which I was so sad nobody... that did not get the traction I was hoping it would, because it made us laugh for about 75 years.
It did.
Approximately. Hashi, just so you know, Anirudh Sharma says that they are a big fan, and they say, was
Hey,
Hey.
Not much. That's the only answer I have for that right now.
Well, so real quick, I'll show you. First, before I put anything on my face, I can go in and just find, where's my preset for RBF. I'll just drop this onto this layer, and, well, it didn't go onto it. Hang on. Here we go. I drop it on, and it automatically stabilized my face. Now,
How did it do that?
Not super perfect.
awesome.
Because it's really only a two-dimensional track here, but it's enough to be able to start putting adjustment layers on and then destabilize later. But that wasn't enough for me. I really, really, really wanted... Let me find that feather, and I'll show you what SOB does.
This is ridiculous. All this because you wanted it to be slightly easier for you to do something that you were doing.
Yep.
It's
And it
the
actually made it
best
slightly
way
easier.
that tools come into the world, to be honest.
So I've got this feather here, and I've got, let me turn the mask off. But making sure, when I did detailed features, it automatically put these face track points with all their keyframe data. And that's what this thing is referencing. So without putting anything else onto that face layer, I'm going to go to that feather layer, and I'm going to apply a little thing called SOB. And I drop that onto the feather layer, and I hit play, and I have to tell it where what the face layer is right here, and I just say it's face, and now that feather automatically sticks to my face. And here's what's so fun: I can reposition the feather wherever I want to put it, and it can stay stuck to the face. So
what?
I can keep duplicating
like a danged Instagram filter.
It's so fun, so useful. I've used it to put like gore on my face. I've used it to it's fun. It's a fun little tool. And once I get the little bug thing, basically once I fix it based on the bug fix that happened, I think it'll be an even more accurate and possibly 3D track.
You were close on that. You were just missing a little bit of data, and now that you'll have that data, it's within reach.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Okay, now let's go back to Huey Lewis.
We have 14 minutes before the end of the show, so let's.
This
all
is
right.
Hashi's a good way into it.
I'm going to try to get at least to a RAM preview. It's obviously going to be not the full Raptor, as it were, but it's going to be. We're going to be as close as I can manage for right now. Let's see. Let's put the this pole back in the foreground, the lamp post. Speaking of Singin' in the Rain, at one point I did a Singin' in the Rain inspired action movie kid, and did actually do a full tutorial on the Action Movie Dad channel for how that was done. It's not great, but it exists.
And existing is half the battle.
Let's see. How do I want to do this in the end? Oh, someone in this house is very excited. All right, wow. So I got to mask in this lamppost just a little bit for this little bit right here. Lamppost. All right. We're close enough. Close as we're going to get for this very silly amount of work on a big, on a 15-second shot, by the way. So, yeah, no compositing going on yet. So let's see if we could get any compositing happening here. You know what? Never mind. I just want to RAM preview it. Right, disabling my sound for a second.
As far as compositing goes, is it mostly color matching that you're going to do? You're going to do light wrapping and other stuff like that for this one?
I'll probably add, so color matching will be important, and then I'm going to add a little light source up there. And I would like to, one of my thoughts was I could shade
have the head go behind the post.
Yeah. I could color just the top of the hat with white or something like that, so I could key it out easily later. And then I can use that matte as a way to make a bunch of particular splashes happen just where the hat is or where the snout is or something. I could top light this character so you're only getting light on the very top of him. And then, so here we are. I feel like this is about, the 75% mark of one of these goofy effect shots. It's not a ridiculous amount of animation, but remarkably between my loose keyframing animation and the loose, that 3D kind of null that is kind of tracking along with his shoulders, you get a lot of the essence of the shot. So I'm gonna say this is a shot that I'm going to finish up, and you'll all be able to see on the But with Raptors Twitter page shortly. Seth, what have you got going there?
I am just about to export this raptor without animation, just to this raptor head, just to track him into the shot, and then I'll do the roar animation. I've got Huey's face painted out.
I'd also like to somehow add the interactivity of the post right here that pushes the hat up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So if I import...
but yeah, for something like this...
Hashi, the chat is appreciating that your streaming resolution of your screen is improved on this episode.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Seth, for improving that.
Oh, I did nothing. It was because you're sharing your screen.
It's because I'm not doing the split screen dealie. Yeah. Clever. So I'm going to show the shortest version of an effect that I could do with this Raptor, which is I could add a little spotlight in here. I think parallel light would, in theory, work, but I don't remember if it works well with Element or not. So I'm just going to highlight the Raptor only. And I'm going to take this parallel light and I'm going to push it to be pointing straight down. And let's see, to make it point straight down, I've got to go to its position and anchor point and point of interest and make sure that they are kind of in sync with each other. So I'm going to copy all of the position points to the point of interest, and then I'm going to add to the Y. So now it's pointing straight down. And then on my element layer, if I were to have, let's see, in the render settings under my lighting, I could, or under the physical environment, I could probably turn the lighting influence to 100, which actually makes all the blacks pure black. And if I have some shadows on, let's point this parallel light so it is just showing the top of the hat and the front of the nose like that. And now if I turn this up a lot, I'll get this like kind of bright shape that's just what is sort of getting hit by a parallel light. So all the pieces that are exposed from a straight down kind of view. I'm actually going to increase that even a little bit more, so it's something like this. And now if I solo just that layer, so it's this, I'm going to go into I'm going to add an extract effect real quick.
Well, currently it looks like a nice Sin City look.
It kind of is. Noir Raptor. All right, so let's extract all of the shadow there. So I just have these bright parts showing like that. And then if I had another composition where I took the footage like this and I took my Raptor soloed Raptor bit like this. So see, it's just that's the top shadow of the Raptor there. I could turn it into a 3D layer if I wanted. And then, well, actually, even better than a 3D layer, let's create a new solid that's the comp dimensions and add particular.
Now, are you going to have to parent this layer, if that's a 3D layer, to the camera so it stays with the motion since you've got a moving camera in the shot?
That is what I would do, but likely I'll do all of the pre-comping of the water in just another
Gotcha.
comp so I can have it there separately. All right, why am I trying to take a screenshot, apparently? What did I do? I pressed the wrong shortcut. So here we go. So in particular, for the emitter, I'm just going to go to a box emitter, and I'm going to choose classic form. And then under here, under the emitter size, I can change it to XYZ individual and change these basically to the comp dimensions, 1440 by 1080 by 0 in depth. And now, because there are layer maps now available in particular, I can go to the color and alpha switch here and say grab this little bit of the Raptor and use its RGB and alpha to map over the XY properties of this particular layer. So now if I hide kind of everything except for this layer, and I'll actually turn its opacity down just for viewing purposes. Now what the emitter is going to do is it's going to be emitting particles just that appear for brief flashes on just this surface. And I can increase the number and frequency of these and then replace them with a rainy sprite. Oh, I hear the electric wasp just letting us know.
Oh, really? Letting us know.
All right. Anyway, cheap way to add some fake rain is to use a layer emitter for particular. You also, I didn't even need to make that a 3D layer for this technique that I just did, but I would if I had chosen a layer as the emitter type. And then under the layer emitter section, just point to the Singing in the Rain clip.
Them Dumum Taz wants someone to add heat vision to a Raptor. I don't know if they mean make the Raptor be able to see heat or apply colorama to it, but that's what they want. Anidrud says, a bit off topic, but you guys watch anime? Depends on what you mean by anime. And Rhiannon Sullivan says, I'd like to see you do Raptor John Wick.
Ooh, Raptor Wick is long overdue for something.
For sure.
I'd like to see a crossover between John Wick and the Spiderwick Chronicles.
Ooh.
John Spiderwick Chronicles.
That should absolutely exist. I like that.
What even was the Spiderwick Chronicles? I don't even remember.
I'm thinking John Wick Chronicles of Narnia. So we can have like 3. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh.
The Spiderwick Chronicles of Narnia is funny though to me. but not to
My
you
goodness.
guys. I'll tell you that.
Well, as we wind this down, Seth, I hope you tremendously enjoy your weeks off.
Oh, yeah, they'll be.
We are going to miss you. Please come support the show even when Seth is not here.
Please do. In fact,
either
the
to make
numbers
me
show
feel
that
better
you do.
or to make him feel worse. So you could do either. So
well, the numbers show that they do support the show when I'm gone. In fact, in large numbers. So please keep that up. And I can't wait to tell all you guys about what I'm doing, what I did when I get back, because it's going to be relevant and really cool.
I am really excited to hear about everything when you get back from your Raptor Preserve.
We are wrapping up this season, not today, but when?
We have 2 more episodes of this season of VFX and Chill, and then we are going to take our summer break during the month of August. So we will not be on during August, but we will return September, probably 2nd, I think, and at least September 9th if we're not there on the 2nd. So the plan is we'll see you all the next 2 weeks. We're probably going to take a look at some kind of movie effects. You're welcome to leave suggestions and things you want to see here in the comments, even if you're watching this after the show has aired. And we'd also love to try to see if we can get Dr. Generic back on the show to do some more 20-minute VFX challenges. And he, of course, thrives on user suggestions for 20-minute VFX suggestions. So please tweet any of those requests, especially in GIF form if you can, at Red Giant News.
Yes, and make sure you are following Red Giant News on Instagram and Twitter so you can keep up with all the things, because we always announce when we got the shows coming on. And there are also tips and stuff for using Red Giant tools. So if you go on to Twitter or Instagram and follow us on Tuesdays, especially, you get, usually most Tuesdays, you'll get like 2 or 3 good little tips for you on how to use the software.
Incredible.
Love it.
And you've got the tools, might as well know how to use them better.
That is 100% true.
Do it. Well, thank you, everyone. We love doing this show, and we love your participation. It makes it all that more exciting and fun. So please enjoy your weekends, and I hope you all have wonderful plans for your summer. Seth, Michael?
Yes.
Yes. Was there more to that?
Oh, no,
I was gonna say, if you folks are, for those who haven't heard, there's a new Cheap Tricks episode Hashi just put out. I know we mentioned at the beginning of the show, but mentioned at the end, you all have been asking for another Cheap Tricks episode, and Hashi delivered.
You did. So I did it because you all were asking for one.
Yeah. Go check it out.
Enjoy.
Well, I'll leave you with one thing, and it's maybe the most important thing I've ever said, guys, and it's this.